Under paragraph 8, there's an option the buyer and seller can agree upon called due diligence. Due diligence gives the buyer a certain amount of time to do inspections and deliver any repair requests, and he negotiate repairs, or just decide, I don't want this house for any reason whatsoever. Some people think that's unfair. Okay? I give the example when I explain this to people or teach about this, that I used to go to Florida when I was a kid, and you would go into one of these places and they would have grab bags. Do you remember those? The grab bag, you pay $1 and you might get $5 worth of stuff. You may pay $5 and get $1 worth of stuff. So you just take your chances. Well, seller, you know about your house. You've lived there. You know what's good, what's bad. Due diligence is basically a chance for the buyer to look inside the grab bag. He says, I don't want to pay $5 if there's only $1 worth of stuff. So I need to look inside the grab bag. So due diligence has some parameters here. It has by a certain date. We have a due diligence period that begins on the effective date of the contract and continues till this date. You can, of course, make an extension. All the paragraphs of the contract are modifiable if both parties agree in writing. During this period, the buyer can make inspections, can do all types of things to learn about the property. It says here, during the due diligence period. Now, that always has to be done during the due diligence period. It can't wait till after. Then, after the due diligence, also during the due diligence period, the seller and buyer can agree on a change, basically an amended contract, where there'll be repairs made. But in that whole time, the buyer actually has 5 options that are listed here. 1 is conduct and obtain all their inspections. 2 is deliver any repair requests to the seller, and it gives a form number there. We'll talk about that in another section. Proceed under amended contract. This is where the buyer and seller have gone back and forth and decided, I will make these repairs. I'm not going to make these. Well, it's okay if you don't make those. 4, proceed as is. The seller can just say, I'm not making any at all. Okay? So you can decide whether you want to buy or not, but it's as is. Or 5, the buyer can terminate the contract by giving a notice of termination and whatever termination fee is here, which brings up a good point. See, in the contract, it has a place under the due diligence for there to be an amount that the buyer will pay for the privilege of doing these inspections and walking away if they're not happy. Some people put 0 in there. Some sellers say, I know the condition of my house. It's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. Other people, it's a hot market. I don't want my house off the market for 10 days while this person does these inspections, knowing that they may choose to walk away. So they're saying, I need to be paid a lot for me to do that. But it kind of puts some skin in the game for the buyer on one hand. But sometimes people are just, I'm fine with it. Let them look. Okay? During that due diligence period, though, should the buyer fail to get an amended contract or they don't come under any other termination, they don't terminate the contract, then same song, second verse, you'll find throughout this contract, the buyer's going to buy as is. And that would be with the seller making no repairs and there being no amendment in the price.